Welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, interviews with self-made millionaires telling us the tips, the tricks, and tribulations. I am your host, published author, Natalie Torres-Haddad, aka Financially Savvy Latina. I know when I say that out loud, it sounds cheesy, but it is. Looking forward to getting more episodes out there. This is what you would call the prequel to the episodes that I have been interviewing and recording recently for this new podcast. I'm excited to be doing something like this for so many different reasons. But number one is I constantly get those questions about how can I do this? How can I become successful in these areas? And I've felt so fortunate and still feel very fortunate. I continuously tend to meet and know self-made millionaires, people that are on the rise, getting there and doing good in our community. So it came to my attention that not everyone has that privilege. I did not grow up with money. I come from humble beginnings, which you can just check out the website, financiallysavvyin20minutes.com. But I wanted to make sure I gave the content and allowed these really humble people that you would have not known to be not only self-made millionaires, but successful in their own right, in their own industries. And the lovely thing about it is too, I come across all sorts of self-made millionaires, not your typical bling bling people. More than anything, they are down to earth. They work hard. They work smart more than anything. Sometimes they're the first generation of what they're doing. Sometimes they're immigrants. Sometimes they're women. Sometimes they're people of color. And I feel so fortunate that I've had a chance to interview so many of them, either because I've known them through my mentors, they're personally become my mentors, they're either within my family, which we have some that have become self-made millionaires as well. And more than anything, I wanted to be able to provide that to the mass. I know when I decided to do this, I had always thought about trying to do a way to get more people involved and be able to hear what the advice we can get in order to become successful in our area. I've always been really interested in money, not necessarily how just to make it and how to keep it, but really the behavioral habits that we have regarding money. Especially, I'm a first generation college student. Like I said, you could check out my website for details about me, but a college graduate as well with my master's. And that means we comes with a lot of debt. That comes with being able to manage. I also didn't get married till I was late, about 31. And so I had a lot of other life experiences before really settling down. And I noticed a lot of millennials, including myself and many other, any generation, always are asking these questions. Well, how can I do this? How do I come across? And I attend a lot of workshops and seminars, which are very helpful. But one of the problems I see consistently is sometimes they have people on a panel or a workshop that maybe have only been in business for a couple of years or have this is their first business and it happens to be doing well, but what would it look like after 5 years? What would it look like after a down cycle? What would it look like after bad economy? So I had the opportunity to come across many people that have not only been in the industries that they're in for decades. Some of them are as young as in their mid-30s and have been self-made millionaires for years. But it's really what they do, the daily habits and those questions that I wanted to ask them, because I know I have tons of questions, but more than anything, I know more people would love to get the real nitty-gritty answers of them. One of the questions I tend to ask in my episodes is, what was that first check that changed your thinking about money? Usually it was through a side hustle or their first big check off a commission or their first time they decided to do their own business as opposed to a 9-to-5 job or an employment. There's nothing bad against that as well, because there needs to be some experience that comes along with having a job. And I think that's the great thing about the diverse interviews I have. I happen to have this podcast in Spanish too in the works, which is really exciting about that as well. I will be hosting most of them as much as possible. If not, I have some amazing guest hosts that are also fanatics about behavioral money and what it can be. For me, my degrees are in finance. It's something that I have always been really interested in, and really because I feel it comes down to it. When you have more money, you can do so much more for your community. I grew up in poor communities, still live in one community that still has a lot of work to do, basically. And for me, I felt so fortunate being from Los Angeles that you get to be exposed to all of that. For me, growing up through the LA riots, growing up in Inglewood, growing up in Long Beach, growing up in pretty much, I've lived in every city. And I also lived out of the country. I'm an immigrant as well. So I've had the opportunity to see what poverty looks like, what the rich look like, and being able to share my experiences along with these extraordinary people. I feel we can accomplish so much more. So stay tuned for more financially savvy in 20-minute podcast episodes. Oh, and of course, why did I say financially savvy in 20 minutes? Let me plug in shameless my book. I wrote it while I was out of grad school and dealing with debt, student debt, and I had just purchased my first property, rental property. I've bought several after that. I was 24 when I bought my first one. Like I said, you can go back to the bio. But I wanted to give a gift to my friends and family that were going through the struggles, like how am I going to deal with student debt? How am I going to deal with balancing my life and living on my own, all those things. And so I came up with a book that was way too thick, and my mom gave me the idea of making it shorter and coming up with it within 20 minutes, something that I can just have them sit down, read a few things that they can change their habits and start saving some money, investing their money more than anything, and learning how the language of money. Financial literacy is a big problem in the US. We have over 54% of Americans are financially illiterate. More than now, we need advocacy for it, workshops for it, which I also am constantly hired to do. But more than anything, being able to be aware and start learning the language. It's just like learning a language. I know other languages myself, and learning financial literacy is really learning another language. You can't expect to learn the entire alphabet in one day. Start with the letter A, and that's what my book was about. My next book, Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, is how to buy a rental property at a young age. But I love being able to provide as much information for others as well as for my community, not only to empower each other, but to help those that really need it. And I believe that when we help ourselves, we help so many along the way. And I feel so fortunate that I've had the support from my community, my family, my friends, amazing parents, and more than anything, great mentors that have gotten me to where I am and on my way. So looking forward to it. Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes is the podcast. Stay tuned for more. And the Spanish podcast, Financieramente Inteligente en 20 Minutos. And luckily, this first season is going to have 24 episodes. I have that many millionaires already lined up to speak, and people that you would not even know they might live next door to you. So look forward to tuning in, and we will get back to you shortly.